guys, I'm Shenae Beech and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing something that I haven't done in a while, which is just a life update on life as a mom. I should have done like a 1-year update and I just missed the mark. Bowie is about to be 15 months old and I cannot believe it. I always say every day brings new challenges and new triumphs, and this past year has been an absolute whirlwind. I am so grateful to have had my MOMLIFE community involved every step of the way along. All of you guys on YouTube, on Instagram, and in my MOMLIFE Facebook group. It's been amazing to feel the support and the kind of give and take of support that we give to one another. So thank you for being subscribed to my channel and being an amazing source of support for me. If you're not already subscribed, then what are you doing? You should probably pause and do that now. I want to start at the very beginning because that was one of the hardest moments in motherhood for me, was when my daughter was 2 weeks old and her colic kicked in. I always do quotations around colic because nobody really knows what it is. No one has an explanation, no one has a cure, and it was very frustrating to hear from all of these people in my life that, oh, she's just colicky, she'll grow out of it in 3 to 4 months. But this screaming child is clearly in some sort of pain, some sort of serious discomfort. Nothing we did could solve it. No amount of rocking or driving or this, that, whatever. We tried it all. Nothing worked. She was miserable and I could not fix it. And that for me, it was the most weird like paradox to be having internally. It starts to drive you crazy, naturally. I mean, nobody enjoys the sound of a screaming baby, but when it's your own baby, you take it one step further because it's literally like physically paining you that you can't do anything for her to make her feel better. So you want to run away from the sound because it's an awful sound to hear, but then you want to run straight towards it at the same time because you're her mom and you want to be able to fix it, and that's what you're supposed to do. Mentally, it was just such a mind fuck for me. I definitely had a moment about 3 to 4 weeks into the colic where we had taken her to a pediatrician who had recommended this diet that I should try while I was breastfeeding to see if that helped some of her gastrointestinal issues. And I had this moment riding home in the car where I was like, if this diet doesn't work, then we've literally tried everything. And if the baby's antac and the diet doesn't work and the rocking her doesn't work and this doesn't work and that doesn't work, I don't know emotionally, mentally, physically how much more of this I can take. And I had a thought of like, did I make a mistake? Did I fuck up? Like the biggest fuck up of all time? Am I not meant to be a mother and now I am one? And it was my choice, my responsibility to bring this little perfect being into the world, and now I don't even feel equipped to be her mom. What is that? Am I evil? Is this what everyone talks about when they talk about postpartum depression? I wanted to crawl out of my skin, and I just felt the most immense guilt doesn't begin to explain it, disgust with myself. In that moment, my husband could see on my face in that car ride, like something was very wrong. And he was like, what are you thinking? I didn't want to say it out loud. I literally did not want to acknowledge the thought that was running through my head at all. I felt like if I said it, especially to him, he was going to hate me. And I didn't want to tell him. And he, poked and prodded me and was like, whatever it is, you can just say it. Like, you need to say it. And I did. And he did not react the way that I thought he would. He did not hate me. He was just a shoulder for me and was like, that's okay. You're allowed to have those feelings. This is not easy. And it's that much harder on you. You've got all the hormones going on. Your body is like physically drawn to her crying in a way that I can't even understand. So it's okay. Basically, in not these words, but was just encouraging me to give myself some grace and ride it out and have a little faith in, this diet being the solution. And within 1 week of implementing this insanely strict breastfeeding diet, the crying stopped. she was a happy baby. I had a brand new baby. And I say this only because I know so many women out there go through this colic thing and just deal with it for months, and power to the people who can. I was feeling myself get to an emotional, mental breaking point, and to have a solution that was so quick and so effective for us just makes me want to share it with the world and like shout it from the rooftops to any mom who is going through it. If you are curious to know more about this breastfeeding diet that I was on, I did do a video on it. I also have a free download for my meal planner guide that just kind of walks you through the things that you can and can't eat on this diet until you kind of figure out what the irritant is that's bothering them. And it also gives some recipe and meal ideas as well. So anyway, if you want that, the link's down below. That was for sure the hardest point in my journey of motherhood, and it happened pretty immediately. And then, you know, that bliss really started to settle in, that bond really started to form with my daughter. I so loved breastfeeding in a way that I never thought I would. It was something that was just special, just her and I. I loved being that life source for her. Obviously, I did grow her inside of my person, so there's that too. But now that she was on the outside in the world, it was like that one last thing that I could kind of hold on to that was just something that only I could provide for her, and that meant a lot to me. With that said, it also kind of became this unintentional thing that I wanted to do everything for her on my own. I wanted to feed her. I wanted to be the one who put her down to sleep. I wanted to be the one who put her down for naps. I wanted to be the one who woke up with her in the middle of the night. And I swore before I had my baby that I was gonna share duties with my husband 50-50%. It took two of us to create her. It's gonna take two of us to take care of her. And I just kind of started to like push him out more and more. It's not that I didn't feel comfortable him doing it, because I knew he was more than capable of doing it, and he was so eager to. He really, really wanted to be sharing all of those responsibilities. But I don't know. I had this thing in me that was like, I can do it. I can do it all for her. I want to do it all for her. I want that responsibility on my shoulders, solely on my shoulders, because I am up for the challenge, and I will feel like I'm failing her if I am not doing it all for her. I'm her mom. That led me to another low point in my parenting journey thus far, which happened at 6 months. It's when I started sleep training. I had always thought when I was pregnant that I was gonna 100% sleep train. My baby's gonna be sleeping through the night by 12 weeks, blah, blah, blah. I read all the books, and I didn't do shit with them once I actually had my baby, because I felt so bad at the idea of putting her down and letting her cry. Like, I couldn't handle it. If she cried, I was there. I was ready and willing to do whatever it took to fix it, to make her stop crying, to make her happy again. So there was no way I was going to sleep train. Nice idea in theory, but I felt way too guilty about it, and it was just not gonna happen. And then we moved her to her own room at 6 months. She did really well with that transition. We did that because we had her in a bassinet in our room for the first 6 months, and we could see that we were starting to wake her up. She wasn't sleeping as deeply, and so every time we would come in to go to bed ourselves, we would start to make her stir, and she would have not so great of a night's sleep. So we thought it was a good time to move her to her own room. Her room's right next to ours, so no big deal. I was still waking up and feeding her like 3 to 4 times a night. I would stay up with her and rock her for hours, sing to her, play with her if I felt like she wasn't sleepy enough, and then 2 hours later, finally, she would go back to sleep. Whatever it took, I was there, I was doing it, and I was running myself ragged. I was exhausted like I'd never known it before. And one night she was just really struggling to settle. I was trying everything, nothing was working. Cut to 3 hours in, and my husband walks into the door of her nursery to find me asleep on the floor right next to the baby, who is still crying right beside my ear. And I was out cold. I didn't even hear her. I don't remember falling asleep. When he said, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" Like, I didn't even know that I had fallen asleep. I was totally delirious. And he was like, "Let me take over." And I just broke down. I was like, "No, I can do this. I can do this." And he was like, "Let me just give you a break. Like, just take a minute." And I took a minute, and burst into tears. I was just so hysterical. I really felt like I was failing her in such a big way that not only could I not get her to sleep, but doing all of these things, I felt like I was actually doing her a disservice. I felt in that moment, sleep training was the only solution, because choosing all of the alternatives that I had tried was just not giving her the restful sleep that she deserved. It was leaving me a much more exhausted and all over the place mom, and that was not the mom she deserved. And I felt like, okay, the time is now. Then the next morning when her first nap time came up and she was struggling to fall to sleep again, I was trying everything, nothing was working. I put her down in the crib and I walked out of the room and she cried, and I started my little sleep training. I did gradual checks. That's what I had kind of come to a conclusion with. I did a 4-minute check. After 4 minutes, I went in, I reassured her. I didn't take her out of the crib, but I consoled her, and then I walked out again and I set the timer for 6 minutes. And at the 5-minute mark, my baby girl fell asleep completely on her own, unassisted, from wide awake and crying. That was it. I was like, oh my gosh, sleep training works. It's taken 11 minutes for this kid to fall asleep on her own with no crutches, no rocking, no nursing, no nothing. And I have been staying up, keeping her awake ultimately for hours and hours on end every night. I'm not saying that sleep training is the right decision for everybody by any stretch of the imagination. You know me, I think go with your parental instincts at all times. I pass no judgment on anyone's parenting style, but sleep training was the right thing for me and for my daughter. Feeling like I taught her how to self-soothe, how to go to sleep at night by herself, how to be excited for nap time, that has been like a major win for me. Anytime I feel like I really have taught her something, I've taught her how to blow a kiss. Watching her do that was like heart exploding. And now when we put her down for naps and for bedtime, she actually will sit up and blow a kiss as we're walking out of the door, and then lie down and just goes to sleep, happy as a clam. We did that. You know what I mean? We did that. She's such a happy kid. That is like a major parenting highlight for me in this motherhood journey, is that I feel like we have made her a very happy, happy, happy child. She loves us a lot, and we love her like a ridiculous amount. I could just squeeze her. Sometimes I always say to him, like, I just want to bite your cheeks off. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I would never actually bite my daughter's cheeks off, but they do look pretty delicious. She is so loved, and she knows that, and she likes us quite a bit, and we know that. And that has also brought on another major challenge in parenting. You know, I'm a work from home mom these days, which is not something I ever really saw for myself. I thought I'd be right back on a set, and now I cannot imagine ever wanting to go back to 15 hours a day away from my kid 5 days a week, not seeing her until the weekend. I just don't think I could handle it, at least not yet at this point in my life. I like to be as much of a stay-at-home mom as I can. I'm still working, obviously. I always thought I would have a full-time nanny, 100%. No-brainer, of course. And now I really only want a nanny for like the minimum amount of time that I can make work for me. I'm like, how part-time can you do? Can you do like 2 or 3 hours, 2 or 3 times a week? So far we've been through 5, 6 nannies. Those people are awesome and get offered full-time positions from other families and can't make the part-time with us work. It's been a struggle because we don't have any family here. Josh and I's family live in different countries. They're not around to help us out. So when a nanny bails, the responsibility for our daughter is 1000% solely on our shoulders out here. If something happens, there is nobody to call. There's nobody who is gonna come running or help pick up the slack or cover us. Things come up, jobs come up, emergencies come up, and in those moments, you know, we just have to figure it out amongst ourselves because we don't have any grandparents or aunts and uncles to call on. At first, that was really scary. And then we kind of got over the fear of that. And then it became very exhausting. And then we got used to that. And now we've gotten to a place where we're actually really comfortable with that. And we're really proud of ourselves. We have become this really, really tight-knit family unit. and Josh and I are 100% having each other's backs all the time. We need to, because again, there is no third party to rely on. So we really view our relationship and our family as this kind of team unit. And as long as we're all okay, as long as we're all smiling, you know, we can figure it out. No matter what it is, we will figure it out because we have to. Time management is a struggle, I think, for any parent, whether you're working and have a nanny full time or you're not and you're a stay-at-home mom. Like, time management is just insane. So much so that I have been working on something to help myself and other moms like me to manage their time a little better, be more efficient, more organized, and hopefully be able to stay on top of things, so much so that you may even be able to carve out some mommy me time for yourself as well. We all put that at the bottom of the list. It's just what we do. Adding that me time into your weekly schedule is crucial. A highlight for me since Bowie's turned a year is really feeling like I'm back in touch with myself as an individual. And I don't mean my old self. I've finally started to figure out who me, Shenae, as a mom is. And that feels really good. I feel like we're finding our groove as this little family unit, and we're really excited to hopefully expand that family unit sometime in the future. Not tomorrow or anything like that. This is not breaking news here, people. But eventually, we do want to expand our family because we just have had so much joy brought into our lives with Bowie, and I feel like she would just absolutely adore having a sibling. I'm so excited for baby number 2 because baby number 1 is this like wild ride. You and your partner, hopefully, I'm so fortunate to have a partner who is like, game on, man, we're in this together. I think that first year of parenting can be really difficult on a relationship. You can butt heads, emotions are running high, you're exhausted, blah, blah, blah. In those most challenging moments, that's when Josh and I have really leaned into each other, leaned on each other, laughed our way through the difficult times, and we've gotten stronger than ever as partners. And so that's what is special and unique about having your first kid. Like, you've never experienced anything like this before. And obviously we've never experienced life as parents of 2. So it will be new in that sense. But I feel like in all of the challenging moments in my first year as a mom, you feel like they're going to last forever. You are fearful that those challenging moments are reality now, and that you will never overcome the challenge, and that you are failing, and you have just failed eternally as a mother. That's it. And everything feels so permanent, and then as time flies by so quickly, you realize, in fact, how temporary all of those challenging moments are, and how beautiful and brilliant those challenging moments are, because there's always the turning point where you do overcome the challenge as a unit. My mom said to me really early on when Bowie was in that colicky phase, enjoy it, because everything is a phase and the phases pass so quickly. So just try to enjoy it. And I was like, yeah, whatever, easier said than done. Now I feel like I know that those phases pass because I've experienced it. I've lived it. And I think I'll be able to really enjoy every present moment that much more on the second time around. And maybe the third time around. We'll see. Obviously, Bowie is now a toddler, and that means that her personality is fully flourishing, and with all of the joys and fun that come with that, so do the tantrums. I have not been equipped for how to parent when a tantrum arises, because this has never happened before, and I honestly didn't give it much thought. Parenting to me thus far is like keeping her happy, making sure she feels loved, keeping her safe, keeping clothes on her back and a roof over her head and food in her belly and all that good stuff. But yeah, you know, dealing with the tantrums and starting to have to think about how will we not just discipline her moving forward, but how will we handle ourselves and our dynamic with each other moving forward? You know, those are conversations that we have to have. We've started to kind of have them, but I think we're gonna have to have more as time goes on, and we see the need to. This is like a new curveball that we've been thrown recently, and I know that this curveball is just gonna get wilder and wilder as she gets into those, you know, terrible twos and Toddlerville and all the rest of it. So we will figure it out, I know we will, but we don't know how to navigate that side of her personality blossoming. The other obvious side of her personality blossoming is that we're having more fun with her than ever before, because she's hilarious and she loves to laugh and she loves to make people laugh. She knows when she's being cheeky and she's just really fun. It's so hard to pinpoint like the highs of motherhood, because I feel this like insane high all the time, a million different times throughout every single day. And seeing her learn new things, explore new things, laugh, smile at things, you know, love and feel loved, all of those really, really simple instances that we get so used to as adults and throughout life. It's all so new for her, and getting to experience that really through her eyes all for the first time is like the most magical thing ever. I feel like 2020 is gonna bring a whole lot of life our way. New challenges, new triumphs, every day is different, and I'm feeling ready to tackle it all and be as present as possible. I think that's what parenting has taught me, patience and presence, how important those two things are, being present in the moment and being patient in the tough ones. I know that that's definitely not it, and I'll finish this and then remember a million things that I wanted to say, but I'm sure this video is already running a lot longer than most of the videos do on my channel, so I feel like I just gotta cut it right now and sign off. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little life update on what the past year and a bit has been like in my #MomLife. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of these kind of sit down chatty videos, leave me a comment below letting me know what topics you want me to chat about. I, again, so appreciate you all for being an amazing part of my Mom Life community, being an amazing support to me throughout this whole journey. If you're not already subscribed, then make sure you do that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.